Aaron, the summer seemed to get shorter, and this one specifically with the late finish and the early start this year. But you've had time away and time to rethink. Just talk us through your thoughts on the end of last season first, and what you felt when you went on your holidays that last season was about.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've probably had this conversation multiple times now, and there's always going to be that bad taste in your mouth the way the season finished for us. We had such a good stretch of hockey there, and things didn't finish the way we wanted them to. Second place was not our goal. Didn't get any trophies, and that's something that we've had to live with throughout the summer here. It was, for me, it was nice to get home for a little bit. I don't think my kids had been back to Minnesota, where I'm from, in 6 years. So we were there for a week, and then we were in Florida for 2 with my mom and her husband. Came down there for 2 weeks too. So that 3 weeks was good, just to kind of clear the mind and refresh a little bit. And now we're grinding the last 6 to 8 weeks here of summer, trying to find the last key pieces to the puzzle.
When you do reflect and you do grind the mind, what would you like to do this year a little bit differently? What do you feel perhaps was the missing link last year?
Yeah, it's a tough one. You're going to look at lots of different situations throughout a year, and what ifs, and what could have been. The injury bug hit us hard, and we just weren't able to replace some of those guys with a comparable player. The market was extremely thin last year that way, and it just ran us ragged down the stretch there. The Dane Todd one was a tough one for sure. Losing Khan's a guy that not only brings it every single night, but is very good at holding his teammates accountable and gets the right message across that way. So a few things like that, and then we just lost our way a little bit down the stretch. We weren't scoring a ton of goals, like I said, just didn't finish right.
So then you get into the team building mode for this year. How you obviously had your hands forced on a couple of issues, a few retirements, obviously Valley moving on. But how does that team building process go in your own head?
Well, again, I like the core group that we got coming back. The Brits is the best Brit core in the league, in my opinion. It starts with Doughty, who scored 33 goals last year, and then Jono, from a leadership point of view, then with Davey and Jones, you got 2 really solid big two-way defensemen back there. Davey's a little bit more defensive, and Jonesy's showing a little bit more offensive his game down the stretch. And then from there we've got a couple key guys returning that play with pace. Schulze on the back end, Latz with his speed, Evan Mosey as well right now that we've currently announced. So I love that core group that we got, and then the additions that we haven't announced yet, I'm really happy with. Again, we've gotten younger, so a lot of the guys that we've signed so far are in prime hockey age still. I felt like last year we might have been a little bit on the old side. But again, they're all pace-driven players that, can like to play a two-way physical, hard game, and are going to bring some offense for us. So, we still got a few pieces left to get here, but I definitely I'm liking the look of where we're at currently.
With the roster size going to 20, Brandon could come in full-time as well, and that was a big move.
Yeah, getting Brandon done for 2 years was awesome for us. He's a guy that, like I've said before, he's probably a third, fourth line center for us that can play up the lineup. The more ice we gave him, the better he played last year, and this year's going to be a huge year for him to hopefully take that next step.
You mentioned that we've signed 5 or 6 other guys that we're announcing very shortly. You say you're going to bring the age down, but speed's always been the big thing with you, isn't it? You like that fast-paced game, and those guys, I assume, are guys that can continue that theory.
Yeah, it's a good mix. We got a couple younger players, and then a couple in that 27 to 30-year-old range as well, but they all kind of fit the profile that I feel is important in our game, which is team speed. Like I said, once we start announcing guys, I feel like things are going to come together nicely.
You mentioned earlier that there was more players available in the market. Has that made it easier or harder? Has the Ukraine thing had any effect? is it a waiting game still?
Yeah, it's still a waiting game. It's definitely a process. There's, last year after September, October, like the well was right dry. There was not many players available. I felt throughout the summer there was still a good core group of guys, kind of like this year. You still have those guys that aren't looking to come to the UK at this stage. They're still looking for Austria, Germany, Czech, places like that they still are hoping for those last few jobs that are available. And then, for us, we'll be a little bit patient here with the last few signings and make sure we get it right and find the right guys. Like it was July when we signed Dane Todd last year, similar situation. He was looking for things outside of the UK, and once he became available, we were able to get a deal done for us.
We spoke to Jono today. The lads that are here are already working out and starting. You get the guys in 2 weeks early before those games against Nottingham and Coventry.
We'll get them in, the week of. So I think we start that Monday and we play Nottingham that first weekend. So we'll have a 1 week training camp, and then we get the Manchester and Coventry games the next week. So it's a little bit different this year, where we'll have 2 full weeks of preseason games and camp, which is nice. Last year we got them in, and I think we started Challenge Cup games that first weekend just because of the situation with COVID. We didn't have any preseason games at all, I think. So it'll be nice to have that 2 weeks, and then we'll try to get the ice a little bit early too for the guys who want to come in early, and to get the Brits on the ice, because most North Americans or players not here in the UK will get plenty of ice throughout the summer, where it's just not as prevalent and available here.